President Ruto has never answered a question. How much is your net worth? He has never answered. He has never. I remember one interview with, was it Ken Mejungu? He said, how much are you worth, Mr. President? I was like, I think you've been so good with your homework. I don't know why you skipped this one. I said, no, I just know. I am the only politician who gets to be asked that question. I don't know if when I was supporting Raila Odinga in 2007, I was never asked my net worth. And now that I want to run for president, you are asking. So your question is, are you trying to say that I am a peasant and I am not supposed to? He comes up with a lot of other stuff.
He creates stories.
A very humongous story out of nothing. So Ken Mejungu is now being defensive. He's like, no. I didn't mean that. And now the story shifts from now the net worth to defending him being a peasant or not.
So he's defending being a peasant.
Yes. It's completely out of the script. The reason why he doesn't answer that question is because he has a lot on his name and he cannot answer how he got it.
A very good evening and welcome back to Havana Media. My name is Boniface Owino, and as usual, I'm going to be your host for today. Now, I would like to welcome you to our show, that is Current Affairs, or what is happening in the country right now. And I'm very glad once again to host Mr. Joakim. I think you requested him once again to come at least so that he can tell us what is happening. And we just have to admit that the guy sitting next to me has got a lot of information that when you listen to very keenly, you'll come to realize that we are really missing a lot. And is one, if following him and listening to him has made me realize that we Kenyans, we only have people who participate in politics, but they're not really politicians. Now, Mr. Joakim.
Yes.
Let me start by asking you this question because this guy knows you. Why is the government telling us what we need to hear? Or why is the government giving us what we want, but they don't give us what we need?
When you've been given a job and you realize that you are not in position to do that job, you come up with a lot of excuses, and you point out to very small things you are doing, things that the person who gave you a job is not really interested in. Because that's the reason why the government is telling us things they think we want to hear. Gone are the days when government used to play tricks on people, because people waited to read things from the newspapers, watch news in the evening to know what's really happening. But right now, the people are so much aware of things that are happening. Even before news time in the evening, we just watch news to confirm it if it's really the thing that we are waiting. And the people can feel that they are not being represented very well by the people they elected. That's why the government is having it very rough to explain to people what they are really doing. And the government doesn't need to explain itself. Just like Archbishop Anthony Moheria said, that the government is not an advertisement agency where you walk around talking about things you want to do. Can you do them? We will see. We have eyes. The same way we are noticing things that you are not doing, we will notice things that you will be doing. When you do a mega project, it will be very hard for any Kenyan to trivialize it. However much you might be against Kibaki, when someone talks about Thika Superhighway, everyone keeps quiet. Because it's something visible, seen, tangible. We use it daily. But President Ruto is talking about abstract ideas, things that are neither here nor there. He's doing things that even the village elder can do. He has actually lowered the value of presidency in a way that a village high school teacher is thinking of resigning and running for president. Because we have come to think, this job, anyone can do it. You can just play with people's mind, lie around and do things. And that's the problem that President Ruto has inflicted upon himself. But before we go there, I also have an issue with ourselves as the people. That how comes we have inflicted upon ourselves a leadership with such magnitude of ineptitude? We are arguably the most learned people in this region, in this country. But how comes that a country with people who are so learned are so incapable of choosing leaders that actually have an interest of working for them? I think we should, like I said here last time, that deliberate effort of choosing a leader who has shown an interest of actually working for you. People who voted for William Ruto, I used to tell them that there is nothing you're going to get out of it. I have seen him quite enough. You know, the problem of being in the limelight, people get to understand you very much. Some people that you don't even know they exist. They are just watching from the shadows. I've been watching President William Ruto from the shadows. Let me say from 2007 when he was in Pentagon. That is when I was beginning to understand politics. And he cast the image of a person who is very ferocious in fighting for things that benefits him. But anything that he is not actually benefiting, he does nothing about it. That's why we have a problem with launching roads, and he cannot come up with any idea that is beneficial to people and not him. As we speak right now, the Treasury has cancelled the plan of building a pipeline, and they want to lease it to a private company. When you look at the company being mentioned, you realize someone very senior in our government is going to benefit from this deal. There is a cooking gas facility that was to be built in Mombasa. And Kenya Pipeline, is it Kenya Pipeline or Kenya Ports Authority? It's like Kenya Pipeline, yes. Was the one to run it. It has been given to a Nigerian firm. We know that there is somebody very senior in this government who has relatives in Nigeria.
You know that.
And you don't need to be told to be a scientist or a genius to know someone is rewarding his relatives. So someone is making a whole country his market. The Chapati Drive in Nairobi. Someone in this government who is very senior has huge farms of wheat. Some are alleged to have been built on university land and police land. Public land, and he has these huge chunks of land that he has planted wheat. Now you need a market for the products you are planting. No wonder the Nairobi 1 million Chapati Drive, so that you can get an outlet for your product. And you can tell me the person who will be supplying wheat is the person that is in your mind right now. You know. We also have an issue of Kenya Power, the issue of concrete electric poles. Someone very senior in this government is a sole distributor of the poles. And it was agreed upon during the last regime, because he was still senior in the last regime. And so it is his company that is doing all this job. Like I say, a whole country is now a market to one person. Amaco Insurance belongs to the same person. It has insured all government property. Starbucks in Uganda is linked to the same person. It distributes petroleum products in the whole of Uganda. No wonder the friendship between our guy and the other guy. So it's about eating and building wealth with the disregard to the well-being of the common person. I am not opposed to building wealth. But can you look for a way of building wealth in a way that the person, then that mama mboga you used to talk about, does not feel the pinch? Build your wealth in a way that that mama mboga actually benefits. But we have a government that is filled with people with enormous greed. Mahatma Gandhi said there is not enough for everyone's greed, but there is enough for everyone's need. I think the problem with our people in government is that they want to have it all for themselves. And they are creating a very big problem. A country where millions have nothing to worry about. If you hear that there are chaos in Nakuru and people are burning shops, if you have 2 shops in Nakuru, it will get to your attention. You will make frantic calls. You will want to know which streets is my shop okay. So you will want to do anything so that the chaos in Nakuru calm down. But if you have nothing in Nakuru, you will be like, why are they burning?
Why are they burning?
Don't they have something more else to do? If you hear that there are chaos in Nairobi and you have you parked your car on one of the streets, you will be worried.
Which street is that?
Yes, you will be interested in peace in Nairobi. Not because necessarily you'll have peace, but not so that you get lost. The people that are preaching to us about peace and that destruction, the people they are talking to about destruction are wondering, what are we destroying? Do we have anything that is ours?
As ours,
No.
Everything is theirs.
Everything is there. If you ban, if the people decide to ban Nairobi, these people that are called Mama Mboga, Nini, they will survive without Nairobi.
Because the only thing they have are stalls.
Yes, those stalls are not even theirs. They pay every day. It's very dangerous to have a multitude owning nothing. And you have everything for yourself. And right now we know everything they have. We know hotels, we know everywhere, we know their clubs, we know their ranches, we know. How comes it's them who have everything and the people have nothing? And the president himself is the one who started this conversation. That we are hustlers and they are dynasties. We are here, we have nothing, and they have everything. It's now time for a person with nothing to be in the office so that he can uplift people with nothing to at least have something. Immediately he went into office. He joined the people with everything and left the people with nothing.
So the people with nothing are fighting?
The people with nothing have nothing to lose. The president is fighting a battle he cannot win. When you are carrying a crate of eggs with one hand and you want to fight me, I'm not carrying anything. You have 2 options. Either to stop fighting and take care of your eggs, or start fighting and lose your eggs. The president has the egg crate and he's fighting people with nothing. He will lose the fight, and after he has lost the fight, he will not even have the eggs because they will be broken. People who are clever make sure that at least someone has something that they can take care of. So that when you tell people, no, this country is ours, it is ours, let's not burn it down. Somebody thinks about his hotel in town, somebody thinks about his farm, somebody thinks about the shares he has in the government, somebody thinks about the company that is working and his children are working there, and then they have a reason to actually sit on the table and say, no, let us not fight. But you are telling us not to fight so that we save the country, and I am thinking, what am I saving? What am I saving? Right now, people are living a life that when you are told now that I want to take you to Dubai now. You will agree to go because you have nothing left behind. You will go. Now
Now,
just provide some clothes. Because the only thing you left in the house, when you can just call, it's a bag that has your school certificate. You will get someone to bring it. The rest you can leave it. That's the problem even landlords are having. Your tenant just passes you with a bag on his, you think he's going on his errand. Kumba mehang.
So people
have nothing. And when the landlord goes to that house, he has nothing to confiscate. Mattress and all that.
And it's not
yes. People have a problem. You know, the kind of hatred you see emanating from people is because, poverty to some extent, it dehumanizes you. You start feeling like you are entitled to some things. And Peter Town and that person seated anakuomba mbao na mwambia hauna. You know, aibu ilimutoka. To some extent anakuambia hauna kwa nini? Suka hapa tuombe na wewe. Like, why are you not having
wewe ni kama mimi.
He's so dehumanized. These people have been put in a place that they cannot fend for themselves. They have to constantly beg the government to provide services. And they can see the kind of lives the people in government are living. So the only way they can show their frustration is hatred towards the people in the government. And the government is adding injury to an insult when somebody like Minister Kipchumba Murkomen comes and says that these young men who are posting hateful messages
have mental
disorder and they are using drugs. You are a minister for security. If we are using drugs, you should at least know who is applying them. If we have mental disorder emanating from the drugs, what are you doing about it? So you are insulting people who are telling you, look, these things are not working. So when I say Share is not working, I have a mental disorder and I'm using drugs. When I say that the president should not be on top of his SUV, I have a mental disorder. People will decide to show you their mental disorderliness, and he will not like it. When people went and broke into Oscar Sudi's bar, he could not break into their home because their homes have nothing. Because I went to shake a street child, like a police. What have you done?
You've done nothing.
You've done nothing.
That guy, got nothing to lose.
Actually, that guy thanks you.
Asante kwa kunipeleka at least penye naweza kula.
Mahali anaweza lala and is assured of a meal. The government must make sure that everybody has something. We should not live like this. In a country, people are so people want to leave this country. People who want to leave this country are so many.
We have a country that whereby we are sisi ni kama wakimbizi. People want to leave more than people wants to stay.
Yes.
Because of the problems that are there.
People who have left are asking, why are you still there? What are you doing? I am here, I'm earning 50,000. I'm not being deducted. I have been given a house. I had a contract of 5 years. I've added 3.
I have 8 now.
I have 8. And I will, if things continue like that in that country, I will not come back.
So you want to say that we people that are in this country are like two ladies or two ladies that are born, 2 girls born in the same family, and one is already married, and now this one that is remaining, the other one is asking, unangoja nini si uolewe?
Olewa wewe. Mama anashinda akikupigia kelele. So hii serikali yetu iko na shida, but they don't want to admit. They want to, they want us to depend on a statement from the minister that the economy is doing well. When the president comes and say, I have stabilized inflation, which was at 9.5, and now those percentages do not work in real life. Economy works in your pocket. Right now, you can earn your money, spend it very nicely, very wisely, but still go broke.
Yeah, that's
because everything is expensive. It's not a matter of the percentages they are talking to us about. If after paying for your basics, you have no disposable income in your pocket, then the economy is not doing well. Go and ask Coca-Cola right now. How are their turnovers? Because before you take Coca-Cola, lazima mtoto akuwa ameenda shule, you have taken care of things that are more important.
Before you enjoy.
Because a soda is a luxury.
Yeah.
And Coca-Cola feels, it's one of the companies that feels the cash crunch. Because they are selling things that are not so important. You can do without a soda for 10 years and you will be okay. So if you have to choose between paying for your fare to work and taking soda, you will choose fare. The people have no money. There is no disposable income. Right now, if someone gives you 200 and you've said you will pay tomorrow, he will be on your neck tomorrow because that money is budgeted for.
Yeah.
How can you come and tell us the economy is doing right? It's not doing well. When it does well, we will tell them. They will even feel. The reason why everyone is so aware of what is happening in our country is because people have nothing to do. People are so jobless. And the only job they are left to do is to look at the people with the jobs to determine what are they doing with their jobs. And the first person with a job in this country is the president. So the jobless people are looking at him. How are you handling your job? Now that you are the only person with a job and we don't. And your job is to help and look for ways of giving us jobs. So you are not doing your job. We are jobless because you are sleeping on the job. Yes. And when the people point out these issues, the president feels infuriated. He comes with insults. You've been obsessed with the demon.
You mentioned something when we were beginning.
Yes.
That the president has made the presidency to look like it's worthless, and that one brings me to this question: is that the reason as to why a lot of people right now wants to become presidents?
Yes, everyone thinks they can do better than him. Yeah, because look at him. The other day, when there was news that he was planning to go to Mount Kenya, and someone came and asked, now that Didi Nyoro has launched most important projects, what will the president launch? Because he's so prone to launching.
Yeah, he's a launching guy.
Yes. I said, President William cannot run out of
anything to launch.
Something to launch. I said he can even launch a Mutaro. It happened in Meru. Amelonji Mutaro ya sewage. Mutaro inapita chini ya Calabar. President
launching a Mutaro.
When other presidents are launching mega projects, Traore in Burkina Faso launches building of industries, tractors to help women in tilling their land. Our president is launching Mitaro.
And a used classroom.
Something that can be launched by a school teacher on duty.
So let me ask you this question, Joakim. If the president is now launching the Mutaro and the classrooms, what will the member of parliament launch?
That's why they are running out of ideas on how to do things. Half a kilometer road launched by the president. I used classroom. You know, we used to see presidents as a very big thing. When the president comes to your area, not even your village, your county.
Just a county.
You feel someone came here. Right now, it's like, what's wrong with this one? Because you know he will come and launch a transformer.
KPLC.
Something that a regional director of Kenya Power can just do it on phone.
On phone.
A president comes and talks a lot of things with 4 poles. He went to Meru with a truckload of electric poles. For what purpose? Just to hoodwink people of Meru with sasa tumeleta stima hapa. Ni kama mimi ni kuahidi kuja na kompyuta. Alafu sasa ile siku umeniita ninakuja na cable. Nakwambia sasa nimekuletea hii cable. Kompyuta inakuja.
Nimekuletea cable, shikilia cable kwanza.
You can allocate so many things on paper. But if there is no money, no contractor will do that job. I told you earlier, before we began this, that in the last financial year, we had a budget of 600 billion earmarked for development. We only ended up using 16 billion. Yeah. That tells you that either there is no money or money is being mismanaged. And the contractors want profit for their work. So if you have seen that the 600 billion earmarked for development, we only ended up using 16, which means there is a problem.
Yeah.
So the project the president is working around in Mount Kenya and talking about, is it backed up with money? Which contractor has been given a job? Must the contractor come with the president? You see? Ni vipindi. And I told people that if you are expecting anything from President William Ruto, you are living in a world that does not exist. President William Ruto will not deliver anything. They say that Right Honorable Raila Odinga went into that government to offer advisory services and donate some experts. The experts have become part of the problem. The papers are talking about them as thoughtless experts. You know, we need an overhaul of leadership. That's why in 2027 there is what we call draining the swamp. We have a very big swamp. And the way things are being done, with the president still at President Ruto still at power, we cannot solve any problem. And they are gagging us not to say things that like Ruto must go. Ruto must go is a political campaign to rally people around the idea of voting him out. It's not unconstitutional. So wakati niliona huyu mkubwa wa wanajeshi Kariri to wait for 2027. When President William Ruto was leading a divisive slogan, Baslas,
he was in the government.
He was in the government.
He didn't
but the leader of military did not say don't. Muatete did not say why. What is so wrong with this one? For the very first time, we saw Inspector General of Police in a rally, with the president addressing the people campaigning for the president. You know, we are wondering, we are seeing, you know, Biblia inasema nyakati za mwisho tutaanza kuona viumbe za ajabu. Na ni kama William Ruto na serikali yake.
Ndio viumbe vya ajabu.
Ni viumbe vya ajabu. Ni kama dunia inaishi.
We wake up one day and realize that
we have a problem. And how did we get here? Kenyans must ask themselves, how did we get here? We have a very big problem. How comes we didn't see through the lies? There were outright lies. There is a day William Ruto talked to 3 different groups as he was campaigning. And he set aside 150 billion. 50 billion for women, 50 billion for young men, and 50 billion for what?
So there is 150.
150 billion. I remember that day Matiang'i talked about, we know the budget estimates and the projected growth of our budget. This money that you are putting aside, where will you get it?
Where will you get it?
Yes. It was a voice of reason, but it was outshouted by political cacophony. And as we approach the next election, so much is at stake. Education is at stake. Everything is at stake. Even your own survival. You are not sure if tomorrow you will have this office. Because they can impose a law that will make you close. And you know, Wakenya wanakuanga na wakati mwingine Wakenya wanakuwa binafsi. We think that things that does not touch you is none of your business. Wakati tuliona watu wanaingia kwa shamba ya Uhuru wakikula kondoo, we thought like
hiyo ni haki, hata wako na mali mingi sana.
Watu waje wapigane huko.
Wacha wapigane.
Kidogo watu wakaambiwa sasa watu wenye payslip watachanga pesa ya housing levy. Watu
kwanza wameandikwa.
Wanashinda wakila pesa mingi sana. Wanaringanga ati wako na pesa, wacha walipe. Watu wa payslip tu peke yao ndio wakawa wananungunika. Siku nyingine president was in Homa Bay. Akasema sasa hawa mama boga pia hawa watakatwa kidogo wajenge hizi nyumba. Ndio watu wakaona pia sisi. Wakaya watu wa ajabu. Kitu kama haikuhusu unaona haikuhusu. I think we should stop that.
There was a time that you said that William Ruto, yani I think you've understood the president up to a point that ukiona amekunja meno.
Yeah. There is a phase when he puts it on, you know something is going down.
Ruto have been mentioning the barabaras.
Mimi namwambia hivi. If he is listening, stop mentioning barabara. Kazi ya barabara wachia waziri. Sit in the office. We have a president who is campaigning to be president. He's already in office 2.5 years. He has done nothing. He's already campaigning without doing nothing. You know, there is no project anaweza sema wacha nipigie kura nimeanza hii ndio nimalize.
Yeah.
On top of his SUV. And people have no confidence in the president's ability to say the truth. There is this trust deficit that is so big between his government and the people. Even if William Ruto woke up today and said something that is very true, very true, very few people will believe him. Even if God today sent William Ruto and said, go tell the Kenyan people that the world will end tomorrow. And it's William Ruto telling us that, hey, Kenya, the world is ending tomorrow. People will be like,
so uongo.
Ametenga tena.
Ametenga uongo ya kuisha kwa dunia.
Watu wanasema atenge muda ya kusema ukweli. Atenge tu muda aseme ukweli.
The only thing that William Ruto can say ni jina yake.
Yes, after ameshaji introduce you start doubting everything he said. He's a president. When he said anything, you need to counter check and ask around, is this thing true? Nimeona president amesema hivi. You need to first confirm before you. Kwanza ukipata ni ukweli unashangaa. Hey, ni yeye alisema hii. Because we are so accustomed to him saying things that are not there.
And today he mentioned something like I was wondering under education, the president is saying that he is going to build a university in Nyandarua County. Do we really need a university in Nyandarua County?
Why build a university in Nyandarua? We have more pressing issues around education that we need to sort. The funding model is causing problems. It's divisive. It has an issue, and the people, every stakeholder in education is saying, we have a problem here. We have a problem of churning out graduates without getting jobs. How do we handle that problem first? We have schools, we have enough schools right now. We have a problem of half-baked graduates. A graduate that cannot even engage himself in a general conversation. They are so one line. We need to sort out that issue. We are creating people, graduates who cannot handle the pressure of the private sector. When you ask employers right now, they tell you that children who are coming out of school today, they have a problem. A little pressure at work, they quit. We should work at our education system. How comes we have this problem in the marketplace? Because it begins in school. Why do you want to build a university in Nyandarua? According to the Kenyan people, studying in the village is not an achievement. Ati wewe ulimezaliwa Nyandarua, high school Nyandarua, university tena Nyandarua.
Utajiriwa pengine wajiriwe Nyandarua.
Tena wajiriwe na animal husbandry farm Nyandarua. Hapana. We do not need a university in Nyandarua. What we need is to strengthen the institutions that we have, streamline our education system. When we have dealt with those, we will start thinking about building more schools where there is no young man in Nyandarua who wants to go to a university in Nyandarua. People who have studied in the city usually mock people at wewe umesomea Kibabii, sasa Kibabii ni wapi? Umesomea Maseno huko ni wapi? Everyone wants the prestige of studying in the city. And you don't have to gag people and say, no, don't study in the city, study in your village. No, let them come to the city. It gives them some exposure. There is someone in Nyandarua who has never seen a Luo.
that's true.
Wanawaonanga tu kwa so hiyo propaganda kwamba Wajaluo ni wabaya anaamini because hajawahi ona Mjaluo. Alafu akikisha kuja shule Nairobi, I'm from Nyandarua, he's seated with an Otieno here. So he's waiting to see the badness in Otieno. Then he realizes, these people are not so bad. Why do we hate them like this? It changes their reasoning. When you are studying in Kisumu, and you go to university in Kisumu, you have never met someone from another tribe. No, it does not. After education, the second thing that actually opens up opportunities for you is exposure. How you handle people. You need to come from Kisumu, study in Nairobi, see how Kambas behave, see how Luyas behave, see how Kikuyus behave. The Kikuyus you think in Kisumu you've been hearing are so bad, you look at them and say, when you have a problem and there is a lot of Luos in class, you see a Kikuyu is helping and you are like, there is some awakening that comes.
You see how Somalis behave.
Yes. Why do you want people to study in Nyandarua? In Bungoma? It's not a must. Right now, there is a very big campaign that, just take your children to TVET. It's not a must for them to go to university. Tell me any member of parliament who have taken their children to TVET.
None of them.
Any governor?
None.
Why do they want our children to have second generation jobs? How many plumbers do we need in Nairobi? You want my child to be a plumber, you want to be an electrical engineer, a technician, people. We don't, mechanics. Why do you want us to do all these handy jobs and our children are studying law, they are studying white collar jobs? Who told you that when I take my child to university to study law, will stop him from doing IT at Strathmore? That child who is doing commerce, nothing stops him from training as a plant operator from Kibit. There is this campaign to force the parents to take their children to lower cadre jobs. So that doctors, lawyers, and all accountants will be their children. So even when the government decides to reduce population, it's their children who are doctors. They will inject us with things that we don't know.
And in fact, their children don't even take the education serious because after all, they have everything.
They have everything. People who take education very serious because it's the only thing that can change their lives. It's people from poor families.
Yeah, that's true.
Why should I have a child who scored 390 marks in primary? They have scored very impressively in high school. And they want to go to college, and you want my child to go and study plumbing.
How many plumbers? In fact, we have enough plumbers.
Yeah, we have enough plumbers. How many plumbers do Nairobi inahitaji plumbers wangapi?
And I think the NYS can do that.
Yes.
Because they give people opportunity after graduating to go.
This story of TVETs all the time, I don't like it. And Kenyans should be told that there is something sinister about this issue. Take your child to a university, let them do an impressive course, afanye meteorology. Mtu asikwambia hakuna kazi, wacha atoke huko nje. Nowadays the world is a global village. Take them to Germany, they will find a job.
They will find a job. But I think another thing that is really affecting Kenyans is this issue of sina pesa kupeleka mtoto university.
The government, if there is a government that has had a rough time with the people who are educated, is this government. Dealing with the young people who are so educated. You make a policy and they dissect it, they post and it. Serikali inaonekana ni kama hakuna kitu imefanya.
Inajua inafanya kabisa.
I think that's why they want to erode education and so that the next generation becomes a generation of fools to be manipulated. But they are too late. Very too late. Right now, I gave my son a phone. He uses it better than I do.
He knows a lot of things.
Yeah, anacheza nyimbo zingine na sasa. Hii wimbo inakuwa kwa hiyo simu.
It is your phone.
It is my phone. He goes to things mpaka simu yangu wakati mwingine ikiwa na shida, you go to your son and like, this phone has a problem. Nakwambia si hapo unafinya. So the government must know that we can see through their plans. Right now, the government has lost their war on information. A young person who is seated in office, when he sees a very sensitive paper passing on his desk, all he needs to do is reach into his pocket, take a photo, post. Then the experts who are jobless online will find something to do.
Now the only thing that I need to do, take a picture, post, and maybe send it to one.
Just send it.
And then
someone will share it. Then it will become a big story. How did we handle the Adani issue? Somebody just posted it. And the government tried to do a damage control campaign. They couldn't. These people they don't know that they have nowhere to run. They can run, but they cannot hide. We are everywhere. When they run to Airbnbs, we are their cleaners, we are their gate men, we are their drivers, we are their waiters, we are everywhere. There is nowhere they can go that we are not. They cannot do without us. We can do without them. So they must know that they must do things that we want. We are their bosses. That's why they come to us every 5 years. And when they don't do things that we want, nothing will stop. This thing, they say that we are being hateful. No, we are not. We are only telling them you are doing things wrongly and you need to do them right. This campaign of Ruto must go is alive and well. It will continue. If it's an illegality, let them take us to police. It's a campaign to rally people around the idea of sending William Ruto home because he has failed on his job. You don't just say he will come back. To do what? To do what?